cue speech about how bad last year was. Alright, it's over now, let's agree that we don't need to hear that again. Aside from all of that, there was a lot of shitty games last year. There were also some pretty good ones that actually lived up to their hype. So really, there's no reason why you haven't played these games already, but if you haven't played any of them, then you can play them this next year or after this video. The first best game of the year is Forza Horizon 3. I'll admit, Forza is a series I haven't really been into, but that's not because I thought they were bad, I just never got around to playing them. And the reason why it's kinda a little bit farther down on this list is because I have absolutely no credibility when it comes to this game, just like Mafia 3 in my other video. Let me be clear, these games on either of my best or worst lists aren't in any particular order, but the number one slot certainly is. I give a lot of praise to Forza Horizon 3 for its picturesque setting in Australia, and if you've ever been there like me, you'll know how truly beautiful it is there. Playground Games have definitely recreated this continent fantastically, and that's not all. Forza Horizon 3 is also fantastic with the sheer volume of activities that are given to the player, along with a great new emphasis on off-roading that does not impede on the traditional races. It's perfect in its simplicity, making it great for anyone to play. Now that'll cover that. Time to move on to the next game, and I think I might get some disagreement, but this is what I have to say to that.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry.
Dark Souls games are difficult. How many millions of times do we need to hear that? Just think, have there ever been a Dark Souls game to you that's been particularly fun along with greatly challenging? Honestly, to me, I feel as though the first two games were only satisfying in just beating them, and that's it. And even when Dark Souls 3 is not particularly challenging, it just feels very fun to play. The game looks great and also feels smooth. Some did complain about it having some of the same old, which is partly true, but that same old could have not been done more right. The gameplay in Dark Souls 3 is also sped up a bit faster, much like Bloodborne, ramping up the intensity while also making the player think that just because they can move a bit faster, the game is easier. It absolutely wasn't. Dark Souls 3 had the perfect amount of polish on the visuals, world building, and the gameplay, making it the most pristine and well-rounded of any of the Souls games. Although not the greatest game of last year, Dark Souls 3 truly felt like a final evolution in the series, and it was an extremely worthy send-off. Yep, you know, this game definitely lived up to its hype to say the least, and that's not an exaggeration. Uncharted 4 is a little like Dark Souls 3, the perfect send-off to a phenomenal series. Actually a bit like Forza Horizon 3 too, with the incredible graphics and the visuals. Uncharted 4, much like in the rest of the series, has stunning art direction, excellent dialogue, immersive puzzle solving, and satisfying platforming. Naughty Dog has done it again. They can never fail. Oh shit, I probably shouldn't have said that. Oh well. And this isn't much, but the grappling hook edition was also fun, even if it wasn't really that unique. Not to mention that Uncharted 4 gave us all cancer.
Damn, bitch!
Uncharted 4 brought a great end to a great story that me and millions of others did not want to see end. It also brought us closer to the characters, while also making us say our goodbyes in one hell of a grandiose payoff. We could not ask for a better ending. Next up, Limbo is a game that will never be forgotten, with its creepy cool art style and amazing platforming. Well, Playdead did it again, making another unforgettable little game called Inside. By the way, you'll see a couple more of these indie gems going forward on this list. Inside is just a better game than Limbo. There's your sales pitch right there, better than Limbo. When I first played Limbo back in the day, the price of the game did put me off a bit. That also made me worried about their next game, but with the multiple endings and secrets, made me realize that Inside was a better, much more worth it game than Limbo was. With the game Inside, Playdead was able to improve on every feasible point from the groundwork that Limbo had laid. I have not dissected the game myself, but I have played it, and there's gotta be some sort of commentary in there, but I have to say that social commentary it contains didn't push too far, nor was the game too dark or too silly. It was kinda like playing an episode of Twilight Zone or even Black Mirror without forcing a message. An amazing little gem it was, to say the least. The next game of the year is Oxenfree. No, it's just titled Oxenfree by Night School Studio, and it's their first game, by the way. Oxenfree is a story-driven supernatural game that branches into many paths affected by the player's decisions that can lead to multiple endings. Every single character in Oxenfree is developed amazingly well, even from the beginning, and I immediately liked them all, even the asshole characters. Another great aspect is how the decisions I made even affected what each other character said and did next. They're decisions that actually mattered for once. That also adds a lot of replay value to the game as well. Plus, I absolutely love the art style. It had like a Double Fine vibe to it. Overall, the whole story was excellent, along with the art style, phenomenal writing, and I gotta give praise to the voice acting as well. Speaking of voices and writing, never have I played a game with such natural dialogue. I mean, if you were to close your eyes, you'd think these characters were real people. It's like Stranger Things before Stranger Things existed. Oxenfree is just a beautiful, story-driven adventure with a very compelling narrative and great characters. And all of it is set on an island filled with intriguing mysteries. By far the best story-driven game of the year. Overwatch is yet another wholly hyped game that lived up to its expectations. Overwatch kinda went the opposite of Infinite Warfare. People wanted it and even fell in love with it from the beginning. The whole setting and growing cast of the unforgettable characters made for an incredibly charming game. I mean, a whole fucking fandom was created just because of the characters and not the game itself. By the way, RIP Tracer's best waifu. The wonderful aesthetic of Overwatch is able to keep the Blizzard-like style and even add a more friendly cartoonish vibe to it. The gameplay is like a perfect mix of a MOBA and Team Fortress 2, and it also allows for players of any skill to be matched evenly. Overwatch even features loot boxes in the right way. It gives you one every level, and it doesn't feel like it's that forced of microtransactions. Not to mention that each owner of the game will obtain any of the new modes, characters, and maps for free. Almost everything about this game led it to be one of the best multiplayer experiences of last year. Yes, I'm not gonna ignore the toxic assholes. Alright, let's be real. It's only the best multiplayer game of last year if you were to play with friends, or if you can deal with a dumb team by yourself, or just don't play long enough to see yourself become the villain. Seriously though, Blizzard really needs to work on that still. But like I said, still the best multiplayer experience when you're playing with people you know. Moving on. Now here's a game that I just can't stop playing recently, and it's Battlefield 1. An epic setting of World War II and an FPS has been needed for so many years, and it feels so cool just to be in. I know it's just as historically accurate as any Call of Duty game, but it's still loads of fun and really impressed me with the time period. You really gotta give kudos to DICE, and well, this will be hard to hear, EA as well for making this AAA title set during the Great War. Battlefield 1 features unique multiplayer modes such as War Pigeons and Operations. Those and the rest play well on well-crafted maps, backed up by a fantastic emotional soundtrack. The campaign itself, however, was a bit too short. Even though it was pretty great, it would have been also cool to play as the soldiers of the Central Powers. Let's hope for the future that there'll be more content pertaining to that. Nonetheless, Battlefield 1 is a beautiful and brutal game with a very high fun factor. It also made me want to learn more about a war that has been really forgotten by popular culture. The fact of the matter is, World War I changed our world far more than any event had or ever will. Alright, so the next game is perfect if you don't like paying for DLC. That's right, Titanfall 2, an EA game with free DLC. That's no fucking joke. That might be because Battlefield 1 came out near the same time and outsold it by a lot. EA knew that, so that's probably why the DLC is free, but that's still incredible. That adds to it, but is far from the only reason why Titanfall 2 is one of the best of last year. Titanfall 2 may not have been as innovative as its predecessor, but it had many noticeable improvements and is still tons of fun. The game now featured a single player mode along with some altered multiplayer elements. The campaign was short, not like Battlefield 1 short, but it also had a great story and some pretty cool game mechanics that held it together very well. As for the other 90%, the multiplayer had fantastic map design, catering to the fast and fluid parkour movement system, while also catering very well to the massive Titans roaming around. Speaking of which, the Titans themselves felt perfectly balanced. There was more depth added to the loadout customization, and it's just fun and felt great to just put on and play. It also kept my favorite aspect of any multiplayer in, the ability to escape after defeat. That made the game less discouraging and more encouraging to play again. To anyone who remotely enjoys aim down sights FPS games, Titanfall 2 is essential to own. Here's another unsurprising one. Doom without a doubt is the best single player shooter of last year, hands down. Calling it just a successful return to form is an understatement. It's the perfect reboot. Doom is incredible as it not only retains the spirit of the originals, but it also refines the gameplay by adding modern elements. The blisteringly fast-paced shooting gameplay never loses its energy. Prior to the release, however, some concerns did arise regarding the new glory kill mechanics, but the way it was implemented fit perfectly well and it did not take the player out of the action for a second. Doom also featured many cool collectibles, secrets, and many of which attributed positively to the upgrade system. A very accessible map creation called Snap Map was also introduced, allowing players to design their own maps and modes that could include enemy AI. Doom unfortunately also featured a mediocre multiplayer. Regardless of what anyone thought about those last two things, it did not bother with what made Doom another best game of last year. Oh shit, and I can't forget, the soundtrack was the most kick-ass one I've heard in years, from anything. Does it, gent? Fuck yeah, it does. The Invisible Award for Best Game of the Year goes to Stardew Valley by Eric Barone, aka Concerned Ape. I swear, I've been to over 10 other lists and I didn't see this game once. All of it was made by one fucking guy. I don't understand what's wrong with you people. Stardew Valley is the perfect spiritual successor to Harvest Moon, with far more content to boot. I'm not very well versed in those type of farming games, but this one made me want to start. Originally, the art style and the homage to those said farm games sparked my interest just a bit. That spark then turned into a blazing inferno when I saw the rating and found out that this game was made by one guy. By the way, on Steam, this game currently has a 97% out of over 42,000 reviews. Holy cow. Stardew Valley has followed in the path of Undertale. One man with one incredible game. But not only that, Eric Barone has always been on Reddit and Twitter, taking suggestions and even fixing bug reports on the spot. He has even pulled I don't know how many all-nighters just to fix bugs. That time and dedication for one person to spend on such a big game that he created does not deserve to be overlooked. Honestly, it is less about the game and more about this guy's passion that earns him this spot. I swear, all AAA developers need to, I say need to, take a note and learn from this guy. Alright, enough gushing about that. Other than all I've said, I absolutely love the rewarding farming mechanics, fishing modes, NPC interactions, the mining, and even the story that I didn't think much of at the start. So even if you're not into these kind of games, but you've always wanted a game with a developer who actually gives more shits than anyone else, then I don't need to say it. But I will anyway. Buy this game and play it this year if you haven't already. Stardew Valley is absolutely the best game of 2016. Finally, some good things about last year. And hey, if you want to hear me in complete and utter agony, go watch my top 10 worst games of last year. Some of them will make you cry or maybe even make you want to die. And hey, please let me know in the comments what your favorite games were that tried to make last year a little bit better. They don't even have to be ones that came out last year. Well, that's it for this video. Please remember to hit the like button if you enjoyed, share with all that you know, and please subscribe to my channel for countdowns, reviews, and commentary videos out every Sunday. Have a great 2017 out there. I know I will.